Hello, people. If anyone jumps on, if not, that's cool as well. All right, so we're into Big Life Journal again today, and let's get. We'll take off where we finished last time. So we're looking at adding those numbers up last time, seeing what your sort of perception was about yourself, whether at the moment you're in more of a growth sort of mindset or if you're in more of a fixed mindset. Neither's right or wrong. It's just sort of what you are and what's going to lead to you being happier and how we can improve that. If you hear my dog whinging, he just probably wants me to say hi, but I came straight in to do this because I'm hungry. I want to get this done before I eat. So, page that we're on here is this one. So, rewiring your brain. We'll go through this. You can live the life of your dreams by rewiring your brain. Now, if you don't know what the life of your dreams is, it's probably a good place to start. And the only thing that really entails is you sitting down and thinking, okay, cool. If there were no limitations whatsoever, nothing could stop me. Absolute, money wasn't an issue, time's not an issue, no issues. What would your ideal best life be? Who would be your friends? Who would you be in a relationship with, if anyone? What sort of job or career would you have? What would your family look like? What car would you be driving? Where would you live? Or what would your holidays be like? How much money would you have? All these sorts of things would be what is your ideal life. And if you don't know what that is, please take a little bit of time just to dream some things up and imagine what that might look like for you. What we got to do to get there. Right. Your brain is very powerful. You can rewire your brain with your thoughts and experiences so that it can help you live the life you want. What they've got here, they've got old mate finishing his running, so greater achievements, positive friendships and relationships. This is crucial. Dream career, and even stronger body. Oh, that was one I probably didn't talk about before. Thinking about if you're thinking about your ideal life, be very, very, very sure that you pay attention to what sort of state of health that you're going to be in. That's really important. If you don't have your health, you got nothing. It's all a waste of time. Health is a really, really important part of having an amazing life. Okay, how? The human brain has the amazing ability to change and adapt by forming and eliminating connections between its cells, neurons. And it doesn't stop doing this. It used to be when I was young, in high school, I was told that the brain stopped growing and developing by the time I think you're 25. It was like done. Chuck, how you going, bro? Yeah, good, man. It's not true. The brain can constantly change. It can constantly adapt. It can constantly improve. It's called neuroplasticity, is what it's called. If you're young, don't stress. But if you're a little bit older and want to look into that, very, very important thing to realize. All right. Next page. So we're on here. Establishing new neural connections between brain cells is like building a bridge to cross a ravine, across a valley. Right? The first time you cross the ravine or valley, it requires a lot of effort. The first trip is the hardest. Having crossed the ravine once, the journey across gets easier and easier. You begin building a bridge across the ravine, which will make it very easy for you to cross it in the future. So here they've got, oh mate, this is like your valley, right? Okay, so this is the thing. If you want to get across, first time you go across, boom, it's hard, takes a lot of effort. You got to go down, then you got to climb all the way up. It's a pain. The more you do it, though, you might be neuroplasticity. There you go, beautiful, lovely. You can end up starting to build a bridge or make the path easier, or maybe dig some stairs in, whatever your sort of approach is. But this is the same way that you build connections in the brain, build messages in the brain. It's the first time you do it. When I'm teaching kids, whether it be a kick or a punch or a lower strike, right? This is a really easy one. So you might be able to do this one with me if you're on now. So if you haven't done this, you'll find it probably a little bit confusing. If you've done it, you'll find it easy. So this one, put your hand up on your shoulder, strike down, pull your hand back to your hip. So that's a very simple strike called a lower strike. First time people do it, like try and do it fast. It's really difficult, right? Most people will get like, they'll be doing these ones and mix up parts of them. So hand on your shoulder, down, back to your hip. It works a lot of different parts of the brain. It can get very confusing doing that, especially if you start to move faster and faster. So this is that principle. But as you get better, the connections grow bigger. So you like build a bridge, or you're building a highway, or whatever it may be. So it makes you be able to remember and perform those tasks a lot more easily. Okay, but that takes time. It takes time to build that bridge or that highway or whatever it may be that you're building. It does take time, so you've got to be patient. You begin building a bridge across it up. Boom. Similarly, when you think a repetitive thought or practice something over and over, your brain is building and strengthening new bridges. You decide which bridges you want to build and which to tear down. This is very important. All right. You can decide which bridges you want to build and which ones you want to tear down, which means you can decide how your mind works, how it thinks, what you're sort of programming there. You're programming good stuff, programming bad stuff. Do you want to get rid of some bad stuff? It's possible to do that. Do you want to build some new good stuff to get you towards this dream life that you want? It's all possible to do, right? Your brain is a supercomputer, and your self-talk is the program it will run. Jim Quick. His book, Limitless, is phenomenal. Strongly recommend that. If you're older watching this, Limitless, read it. Very good. Your brain, your body, and your mindset are heavily influenced by the quality of your self-talk. Self-talk is just things that you say to yourself, right? The things you say to yourself and how you feel about yourself have a big impact and are incredibly powerful. Positive self-talk is kind, supportive, and affirming. It sounds like this: I'm making progress, or I will keep trying. I actually don't like that one personally, but I will keep going. I'll keep trying to do better. I think is a better one. I keep trying. Not super strong for mine. Positive self-talk boosts confidence, helps you succeed in sports, helps achieve goals, gets you through challenging times. Definitely does. Negative self-talk is unkind, critical, and upsetting. It can sound like I'm not worth it. My opinion doesn't matter. Big one, I can't do it. People who use the word can't a lot tend to talk negatively about themselves. I was teaching a lady on the weekend. She was new, very painful for me. She hasn't trained with me before. And the one rule that I have in my class, I only really have one, is if you say the word can't, C-A-N'-T, you have to do 5 burpees. And most people really struggle with it when they first come, but tend to, understand. They can see the results. The other people are getting, all right, cool, buy into this. It's actually working. Man, this chick, I can't do this. I can't do this. I can't do this. I can't do it. And I was like, I felt like I was about to have a stroke. Man, it was hard to listen to. So I didn't accept her as a client. It's just not going to happen. I don't want to be around that. But it's a really strong example of how most people, if you listen to how most people talk, even yourself, good exercise. I don't remember which book I read, but when you're saying these things, if you've got a little notepad and pick a trigger word, like the word can't, right? If you write down just for 24 hours what the sentences you say, or how often you say that word throughout your day, you will be blown away. The first time you do this, it is insane. If there's another word or another thing you say, like, I can't do this, or I'm no good at this, or I'm not good enough would be another big one, or I don't know, whatever it is for you. Everyone's got their, I'm not good enough was a big one for me in the past. It's not anymore. But they're really interesting things. If you write them down, you can pay constant attention to them. Very, very interesting. Just to bring your self-awareness up around those things. Right. Negative self-talk lowers self-esteem, spoils true friendships, stops you from achieving goals, and increases stress. Agree with all that. All right, let's see if we can I'll get through this and then we'll finish. So this is an important one. It's talking about growth and fixed mindset. Run through some of the things that you'd say, examples for this. So if you want to get a pen and write this stuff down for 24 hours, strongly recommend doing it. Our repetitive thoughts and self-talk from our beliefs and mindset. For example, a person may think their intelligence, talents, and abilities can't be significantly improved. Researchers call this way of thinking a fixed mindset. An alternate way of thinking is our intelligence, talents, and abilities can be developed with effort, right strategies, help from others, etc. Researchers call this way of thinking a growth mindset. Okay. So some examples of a fixed mindset would be, I'm not a math person. My intelligence, talents, and abilities are fixed. I'm not a natural athlete. I'm not good enough. I'm not creative. They're all fixed mindsets because it's saying it's like a definite, like there's nothing that can change. There's no wiggle room there, right? An alternate way of thinking is that I can learn math as opposed to I'm not a math person. So you might suck at math now, but the people who were geniuses at it weren't just born that way. Einstein wasn't born awesome at math. He sucked. He failed school, right? He got really good. His imagination, more importantly than what he was actually taught about actual math. But he learned how to apply the formulas and work out how to go through the steps so that he could not just come up with these amazing ideas like relativity, like A equals mc squared, but actually reason them and prove them in his theories, prove them mathematically, right? But he didn't start off that way. They're all things that they learn. It's like people look at, for me, martial arts, self-defense, whether it be punching, breaking boards, kicking stuff, I don't know, flying psychic's a big one for me. When you like jump up in the air, foot's on the side, it's a cool kick. People are like, whoa, how do you do that? How do you do that? It's like, okay, cool. I started when I was 4. That was 25 years ago now. I did it a lot, all the time. I fell over a bunch of times. I got smashed a bunch more times. I made way more mistakes, but I kept on going and I slowly improved. Probably reasonably quickly improved. But even now, I do it and I look at it and I'm like, oh, I can make that better. There's always things that you can improve and always things that you can work on. I think another really good example of a fixed mindset is the perfectionist. And they often just give up so much because they're like, oh, it's not perfect. So it leads back to not being good enough, right? Perfectionist is very much on that one. Sorry, more on growth. I can develop my creative skills. So yeah, it's all about learning, right? I can develop my intelligence, talents, and abilities. I can achieve great results with practice. We already know about the incredible power of our brain to learn and change. So the growth mindset way of thinking is a better reflection of reality. And it's 100% true. 100% true. Tell you a quick story, which I've been thinking about recently and I find really interesting for me personally. So my dad, very strong opinions, right? He's very much a fixed mindset type person. He does learn things and he does improve, but he's more on the right or wrong sort of thing. I don't really agree with a lot of it. But as a kid, you'd sort of take those things on, and he has never done it with ill intention or anything bad. But one of the things that he used to say a lot was when he talked about me as a runner. And at school, there was another kid who was quite fast in my year, but I was faster than him in everything, and I was always the top sports person for our year or whatever it was, whatever the award was. I don't remember. But for the athletics, right, I always do really well, and I'd win those. And I remember him saying to me when I was younger, he said that this particular boy was probably going to be a better sprinter than me, but I would be better at the longer distance ones, like a 400 meter or an 800 meter. 400 was always, that was a strong event for me because it's probably the toughest one. And I like doing those. But I believe as a kid, I probably had a lot more natural ability to be a better sprinter. And I know that there's been moments where I've sprinted and I've just, like, something's just unlocked in me. It's just been phenomenal. And I've run so fast when I've been older, faster than I thought was even possible for me. But this thing that my dad said to me, he said, you're not a natural born sprinter, right? This whole fixed thing. You're not going to be a fixed, amazing sprinter, but you'll be better at these longer things. And so I got to a point in my sprinting where it was like, I'd run and I'd sprint, and most of me would be like, oh, this is your best effort. And it's not like I wasn't trying. It's definitely trying. But it's like there was this block that was almost stopping me from just extending or exploding just that little bit faster. And as a result, in year 6, I ended up losing to this guy. I got runner up, and he won, and he won the 100 meter. It was the first time he'd ever beat me. and it was unfair. I should have won. It was my screw up, and I look back now. I'm not dirty on it. I just find it interesting to look back on. But it was this thing that Dad said that stuck, and it was like, you're not going to be this natural born sprinter or this naturally super fast guy. And he said it to me probably in year 2 or year 3, and it maybe year 4, and it just stuck with me. But it's always been there. It's been like, all right, cool. So sprinting, like, you're not naturally super fast. And I feel like now when I try and run in footy, for example, like, I used to be quick off the mark when I was a kid. I remember I was like, boom. But now I'm generally quite slow off the mark. I've got a lot of other guys around me that are so much quicker, and that's something. It's not necessarily true, but it's something that I learned when I was a kid, and it made an impression on me, and I've sort of just stuck with it. And I haven't made that adjustment, which is not a great thing. But it's something that it's like this idea of, I think when you've got kids or kids, if you're watching and your parents are saying things or doing things, they're not going to mean to be saying or doing those things in a bad thing. My dad was like my biggest cheerleader. Like, God, he worked with me so much to improve, and everything that he did was, in his mind, always was for my benefit. Definitely my biggest teacher and the one that I've got the most lessons from. But this particular thing, because I respected and loved him so much, I heard that, whether it was true or not, in the end, it's just his opinion. What the hell does he know? Like, I mean, really, looking at it now, how the hell does he know when I'm 8 years old what my capabilities are? It's like, grandparents will do it. They've got babies and they're like, oh, this person's going to be a scientist. They're going to be a world leader. He's going to be this. He's going to, boomers will do that all the time, which is fine. It's not a problem. But when kids are growing up and you say those things with like a certainty that you have, the kids are going to be very inclined to believe you and take those ideas on, and it becomes part of their reality. And that's what happened with me with sprinting and running. Like, I've never been slow, but I believe my potential for sprinting was a lot more. And because of that thought that was introduced to my head that I took on and hung on to growing up, I never probably got there. And then I'd constantly find all these people that were maybe just a little bit quicker, and it would be reason for me to believe this thought and reinforce it, to a point now where I look at it and I think, I don't actually think that's true. I think I've got a lot more ability to sprint now, and I'm intrigued to sort of work on it and see where I get to. But just there's just really interesting things. If you write those things down for like 24 hours and just question them, it can be very intriguing to see what you get. And I'd question if you've got kids, or you're talking to kids, or kids, if you're listening and people are talking to you, just understand what other people say to you is an opinion. It's not fact. If they're talking about your ability, if they say you've got 2 arms and you've got 2 arms, cool, well, right, sweet, I've got 2 arms. But if they say that you're just not ever going to be a bodybuilder because you don't have the frame, if they've never been a bodybuilder themselves, they don't understand about nutrition, they don't understand about training, they don't understand. They probably have no idea. Most people, when they say those things to you, are talking about their limitations, not yours. They become your limitations if you believe them. Don't believe what other people are saying about you when it's limiting you. If it's lifting you up, cool. Most people, and they're not going to say it with ill intent, but just try not to hang on to it, because I know I've done that a little bit. I hung on to those things longer than they needed to be, and it's probably cost me certain opportunities, particularly in sporting fields. So yeah, just be cautious of that stuff and question it, right? If you're saying to yourself, I'm not a natural sprinter, well, is that true? Have you ever been the fastest in your age group at a certain point in time? And I was for a very long period of time. Have you ever beat other people in a race? What's your time? Cool. If you go and run 100, like if I went and run 100 meters now and I ran 13 seconds, I'd be like, oh, cool, can you run faster than that? Probably. Look at the race. All right, what can I do? I can work on my start. I can work on this. I can work on this. My legs can get stronger. I can do all these things. I get to 11 seconds. Cool. Can I get better? Probably. Do I want to? Probably not. I don't want to do the work, right? It's a lot of work to be running faster than 11 seconds. But I believe that that's a very realistic time for me to be able to get. And it's just been an interesting thing I've been thinking about recently. And it's funny to be reading this growth and fixed mindset, but that's something that I took on And it's something a lot of people probably take on from their parents. So just be cautious of what they say and what you believe about yourself, because I think people are a lot more capable than what they give themselves credit for. And kids, whatever you want to achieve, if you're willing to put in the work, you have to put in the work, then you've got a very, very high likelihood of being able to do it, regardless of what it is. It might not be what you're naturally best at. You might be naturally geared towards other things. But if you want to go play in the NBA and you're young and you're willing to put in the work that's required to get there, cool, go do it. If you want to be a pro footy player and you're willing to put in the work, go do it. Don't say, I want to do this, and then do nothing to get it. You have to learn, you have to grow, you have to improve if you want those audacious goals, which is great. I admire you if you do. But you got to realize that there's a lot of work that's involved in reaching those things. You need to be willing to go and put in the effort. If you're not, then you're just another one of those people that just talks, and there's enough of those. We don't need those. We need more people that are doing stuff. All right, I've gone way over for this one. It's only meant to be 10 minutes. But if you've watched it, I hope you got something from that. Next one on this journal will be moving to... it's an activity. You're going to develop an app. So I'll go through that on the next one. I'll come up with one as well because I haven't actually done it. But good one to go through. And then I've got a story that I'll read through about a lady. And so it will be 10 minutes next week. I apologize for going a little bit longer. All right. Take it easy, guys. If you've got questions, I'll do these open now. So if you can shoot questions into the chat, if you want me to answer anything, or you've got things that you want me to talk more about, chuck them in, and I'll make sure I talk more about those. You should be able to comment on this video too, I think. So yeah, if you want to do that. If you're watching it back later, and any questions, whatever, shoot them through. Cool. See you guys. Take it easy.